really need a property manager in Dallas? Hi, I'm Steve Rosenberg with Mynd Property Management, and today I'm joined with Murphy Cheatham, who is the Dallas portfolio manager for Mynd Property Management. So, Murphy, do people really need a property manager in Dallas, or can they just self-manage?
Oh no, you definitely need a property manager in Dallas unless you're here, boots on the ground, and you're active with all of the regulatory changes within the different municipalities and the state.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. Last year, and a lot of other municipalities, Plano, Frisco, what have you, have all enacted that they want all rental properties registered. So, and if you don't register your rental property, you don't get a certificate of occupancy, to where if you have someone leasing a property, you're subject to fine. And
Yeah.
that's just here in the Dallas market.
And you know, I think it's important if people want to self-manage, I think they can, but they've got to treat it like a business. They've got to understand that there are laws, there are regulations, and those laws and regulations change very often. And you've got to make it part of your business. It's not a hobby. And so you can self-manage, I think, but you've got to treat it as we do, or as any property management company does, with the fact of business policies, procedures, and understanding that there are laws and you have to abide by those laws. What are some of the other laws that have changed that people need to be aware of?
Yeah, you just raised a very good point. I think historically, Texas has been a very landlord-friendly state.
Yes.
Not saying it's not that way now, but with all of these new Class A, frankly, Class B apartment complexes that have been developed, the state has gotten really aggressive on behalf of the tenants. So last year, they passed about the state passed 9 different pieces of legislation protecting tenants. One is late fees. You are only able to charge up to 12% of 1 month's rent for late fees. And if you're going to charge over that, you better have a pretty good reason on doing that. Otherwise, they're going to cap it. Also, during an eviction, you can't charge for late fees during the eviction. So you can only charge for past due rent. So
are these, real quick, are these new laws? Are these recent that have changed over the last couple of years?
Just within the past 12 to 18 months.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
So if you didn't know that and you just had a house, you couldn't sell it, and you just wanted to rent it out, as a lot of what we call accidental landlords are, and you're thinking you're just collecting rent and that's good to go, well then now you're at risk. Something that's been on the books for a long time that a lot of self-managing landlords don't know is you have 30 days to return a tenant's deposit back to them with a reconciliation. Otherwise, their full deposit goes back to them.
And it's 3 times the amount as well.
And it's 3 times the amount as well. So it's not only the deposit that's on hand, now you have twice that coming out of your own pocket, whether they cause damage or not. So they could have torn the house up, but if you didn't get a reconciliation in 30 days, you have 3 times your deposit due back to them, right? On top of the damage that they caused. Evictions are going to take longer because what they did in the past 12 months is they increased the amount you can sue for in small claims court in the justice of the peace, which is where the evictions happen. So that amount has gone up from $10,000 to $20,000. So what that does is that makes your court backlog just twice as long. So your evictions now, which can be between 15 to 35 days, might go 30 to 60 days to get an eviction through. So that's a longer piece, to where if you're not managing that full process, as soon as the tenant is late, well then they could be in the house 2 to 3 months past them paying or not paying rent, right? And now that was enacted. Access or rights to bring guns onto the property, not only for the tenant, but for the tenant's visitors. You cannot physically stop a tenant's visitor from bringing a firearm onto the property if they're there to visit the tenant, no matter how dangerous you might consider that to be. And I'm not sure I'm not sure that you want to stop somebody from, I'm not sure that you want to be that person, right?
But this is important because, you know, in Texas, there's what's called open carry, and open carry says that you can carry a weapon as long as you're registered and licensed. You can carry it on the outside. And if you are not familiar with this and you don't maybe live in Texas, or you're not familiar with the laws, and you may have different personal political beliefs or whatever, but the law is the law. And that's what I think is important to understand, is you don't just get to dictate what you think it should be based on your personal opinions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you have to walk a very fine line. And to your earlier statement, that line is moving more and more away from the landlord, more and more to the tenant, whether you agree with it or not. And you have to be conscious of that. So if you're going to self-manage, that is your prerogative. But understand that there's more and more legislation every year being brought to protect the tenant.
Yeah, no, that's good to know. So Murphy, if somebody wants to get a hold of you and learn a little bit more, how would they do that?
Sure. The first way, we have our own proprietary system. You can email AskMurphy@Mynd.co. So ask MURPHY at MYND.co, or 888-866-6727. 888-866-6727 is the best way to call and get a hold of me.
That's great. And for those of you that want to learn a little bit more about real estate, I would invite you to join our Facebook group. It's the Mastermind, MYND, Mastermind Real Estate Investment Club. And there you'll have people like myself, Murphy, other investors that are actively involved, whether you're novice level or experienced. And we can comment, have engagement, and talk about these very subjects that we just talked about today. We also have a podcast show. It's called The Mindful Investor. It comes out every week. And that show is chock full of novice all the way up to very experienced. And you'll hear about people that are successful, not only because of their wins, but more importantly, their losses, challenges, and how they've overcome them. So on behalf of Murphy and myself, I'd like to thank you for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you'd like to keep the conversation going, join our Facebook group.